Let me redo that intro because I literally just did it while I was muted in here. Hello and welcome to Check Your Six podcast, where it's a veteran's perspective on the most tactical games on the planet. Sorry, I messed up your thing. Grim, my co-host is here. Want to say hi to the folks, Grim?
Hi, everybody.
And then, of course, we're here with Controlled Pairs, the very excellent content creator and just all-around cool guy. Why don't you say hi to the folks there, Pairs?
Hey, everybody. What's up?
So just to kick this off, first off, I want to say thanks for coming on the podcast, Pairs. It's, you and I talk a lot on the back end, but it was really cool that you were willing to carve out some time. I know you're a very busy guy.
I appreciate that, man. I'm excited about it. We don't get to game enough or hang out enough, so this is an easy opportunity to take advantage of.
Absolutely, yeah, and I totally agree. I think, it's hard with schedules, especially knowing that, you have a family, I have a family, a lot of the other people that we play with, got jobs and all that sort of stuff. So it's cool to be able to get this going. I want to say thanks to the 23 people who have hopped into Pairs Discord. There's a link down below in the YouTube stream. If you want to go, you can hang out and listen to us live there. Of course, I'm streaming on YouTube. And then Grim, are you streaming on YouTube or Twitch right now?
I am streaming on Twitch right now.
Excellent. So what's your name on Twitch? I forget what you changed it to.
BDGxGrim.
BDGxGrim on Twitch. Make sure you go give him a follow and everything like that. So just to start out, Pairs, obviously I've known you for about 6 months now, 8 months now.
That's about right.
And I feel like I sort of met you around the time that you really started hitting it big. You've seen a lot of success recently with games like Door Kickers. You did a little bit of Arma, but also 0 Hour, Onward, games like that. But you had told me that this is kind of a long time in the making. Why don't you sort of talk to us about sort of the history of you and your content and sort of where you started and how you got to where you're at now?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I like a lot of people, I feel like started making content purely for kind of, entertainment and sharing clips with my friends. Didn't have any sort of long-term goal or focus. And it started all the way back and it must have been like 2013, 2012, somewhere in there. You'd have to actually go look on YouTube and figure out how far back you can scroll. And interestingly, the first game that I made content on was Arma 3. It was in like its alpha or beta stage. It was very early. And then over the years, I kind of periodically dabbled in Arma and other kind of games as they came out. I didn't always stay in the tactical shooter or the strategy or the MILSIM genres. For a while, I played a lot of Rocket League. I played a lot of Kerbal Space Program. And essentially nothing was off limits. Like if it was a game that I enjoyed, I played it. While I played it, I made videos on it. So I just kind of record the session without much of a plan in mind and then try to take that footage and turn it into something to share on YouTube. It took a really long time to get any traction. A lot of that was just because the goal wasn't traction. It was just entertainment. And that's evolved a lot, especially over the last kind of 2 years or 18 months, really, as I've kind of niched down specifically into the simulation in the tactical shooter markets, with a focus on realism and tactics, and trying to relate a little bit of what we enjoy in these digital experiences to things that are possible in the real world.
Well, that's awesome, and I really think that that niching down obviously is really earned you a lot of prestige, I think, within the community because I know you're very good at tactics. I don't know how good you are at Rocket League, but I'm not sure that you're at the same quality level in Rocket League as you are in.
He's trash. Trash at Rocket League.
No, he's trash. He's straight garbage tier.
I've got some sick highlight reels from 3 or 4 years ago.
I feel like every streamer kind of goes through that of like the easy games to play, like your Rocket Leagues or Rainbow Six Siege, like a lot of free to play, that sort of stuff.
Sure.
A lot of people start there. So what motivates you to, or what motivated you? I guess I know it probably motivates you now. What motivated you back then to keep going for all that time? Because that's a really long time making content. Without really catching too big of a wave.
Man, it is such a grind. I was not motivated by the thought of hitting it big and humbly and frankly, like I don't think I've necessarily hit it big. There's always like room to grow, and you and I are both buddies with people who are far more successful than we are, right? But but all that said, I started just doing it for fun, and I kept going because I was still having fun. And if at any point, that stopped, then I don't think I would keep making content. And I enjoyed the games that I was playing. I enjoyed the people that I was playing with. And I importantly also enjoyed the creative process. And I think as a content creator, it's not enough just to, enjoy the game and hanging out with your buddies. You have to fall in love with the process. You have to fall in love with crafting art, making videos, running a live stream that is high quality, high end, and engaging, making the thumbnails, understanding the workflow of, how to, run your audio and edit your videos and integrate the right sound design and optimize everything to achieve the effect that you want. And so it was the games that I loved. It was the people who I enjoyed those games with, and it was the whole kind of creative process. And I'm still just as passionate today as I am, or as I was back then, about all of those things. And if that ever changed, I don't know if I could, keep doing it.
And yeah, I definitely totally understand what you're saying there. Like the process is such a vital part of it, because you find yourself doing a lot of the process and not as much of the reaping the rewards side, right? You spend so much time on so many hours of the day just making videos. But I feel like, I'm a member of your community, and I've gotten to know some of the folks there. I really feel like, looking from the outside, it seems like the connection with the folks in your community probably has a lot to do with that success now as well. I feel like watching you play games like, Onward with some of the guys that are in chat right now are like that's, to me, you can just see that there's like a chemistry that really works, and that you're not only are you having fun just as a game, but you're like honestly having fun with a group of people that you care to be around. And I really think that you've done a great job to sort of, you've got a relatively large community, but you've definitely drilled down and got some great people in here. So I definitely think that whatever you're doing is working.
No, I appreciate it, man. Believe it or not, the Discord thing was like an afterthought. This Discord is, I don't know, 18 months or a year old tops. And it was the advice of a follower who recommended that I went ahead and do it. And I was like, oh, why? I didn't want to go through like the maintenance of standing up a Discord and running it, but it has been the single most valuable thing I think that I've done for my channel, and is the reason, like you said, that we have this core group of people who enjoy, and like true friendships have been formed, and we have just a fantastic time together. And I think that shows in videos, and we end up making new friends all the time. So it's pretty cool.
So can you elaborate a little bit on what your creative process is? Do you do like a batch recording and batch editing? Do you do one at a time? Is there a strategy, or is it kind of free form?
It is kind of free form. I've become much more efficient at the kind of technical piece. Actually manipulating my nonlinear editor, cranking out thumbnails and doing all the metadata stuff pretty quick. I tend to batch record if I'm playing multiplayer games. So if I'm playing Fast and Low or Onward or Ground Branch or Hell Let Loose or Squad, like if I'm enjoying those games with buddies, we'll play for 2, 3, 4 hours. I'll record the entire session. I'll jot down notes on a piece of paper as we play of the matches or the moments that really stood out as things that I know my audience would enjoy. And then I'll go back, and over the course of the next week or so, as I need to produce content, I'll reference those notes in that session and create content from it. If I'm playing a single player game, Door Kickers is the biggest and obvious example, and I know that's why a lot of people have come to the community and kind of found my work. I typically just crank out one video at a time. Early on, like in the campaign, the levels were really small, and I could play through 2, 3, 4 levels in an hour. But as you progress through these complex environments, it takes a really long time to get through a level, and I just don't have that much time to play video games. I just don't.
Well, that's I definitely, obviously I've seen that where it's like trying to schedule like, yeah, we're going to play a game here. No, you're not, because it's like a very little limited amount of time. So let's talk about, I think, what people really want to hear you talk about, which is tactics. You have, or at least you seem to express a passion for tactical gameplay. What is it about a game like Door Kickers and like the CQB sort of close in, very tactical gameplay? What about that really speaks to you?
I like it because it's hard. It's highly technical. It's a cerebral way to play a game. It takes more than, fast twitch response times, which, in my 30s, I don't have like I used to. But it is it is, in my estimate, just, or if I have found it to be a very fun way to enjoy the game. And it's especially fun if you can play these like highly technical games, your ground branches and your 0 hours and your fast and lows recently. If you play those games with friends, I think it's a incredibly rewarding experience because it forces teamwork, it forces communication, and you don't have to take it, terribly seriously. We've never claimed to be some sort of, elite operator style like group of people, but we do try to use kind of common sense, gameplay, and that's the way that we've found that is most enjoyable to play, and it's delivered a lot of success when we play, and the audience, I think is the biggest indicator that it's compelling, because the videos where you see us talking a lot about tactics, explaining in detail what we're doing, talking about the concepts and the motivations and the strategy behind the decisions that we're making, those are the moments in videos that are successful, and those are the videos writ large that tend to outperform others.
Cool. So, Grim, I'm going to toss over to you. What questions do you want to ask for our man ControlledPairs here?
How do you speak so well when you're talking about stuff in door kickers? I don't know how you do that, because I would try to do it sometimes and it would not work for me. I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna try and do this. Like, it makes sense in my head, but I can never say it correctly.
I don't know, man. I'm a talker, bro. I always have been. I did I don't know. I got the gift of gab. I'm blessed in that way. Like, it's a skill that I know I'm really fortunate to have, and I think a lot of people have to work on communication a lot over their life, and I think that's true of me too. But I've been fortunate to kind of, for whatever reason, just kind of naturally been able to communicate effectively and quickly, and especially when we're talking about kind of tactical sort of games. I just feel comfortable doing it. Of course, professionally, I have some reps on it, and it just clicks. And I also think it's a fun way to communicate. So I don't have a filter. Like, when I'm playing door kickers, I guess it is sort of an acquired skill because I've done a hell of a lot of the videos now, but it's just word vomit. Like, I'm just, whatever's happening in my brain comes out of my mouth. And I take no effort, like I take no action to prevent anything, right? Like, it's just word vomit, and that, for whatever reason, that style content, that sort of, communication has been the most interesting and compelling for the audience. And I'm really glad for that. And a lot of people seem to enjoy it and actually, learn from it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
oh, good.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say, I mean, you're one heck of a teacher. I could definitely say that. Just watching one of your door kickers videos, you could learn a lot from it. And just coming from like my experience and everything in the military and everything, I was like, God, this guy knows his shills right now. Let me tell you what. But go ahead, Bod.
No, I appreciate it, dude. And honestly, you and I are familiar with one another's backgrounds, and I don't ever profess to be like a teacher of doctrine or tactics. Like, my content is 100% entertainment. There's no doubt that there's glimpses into some realism in there, and there's no doubt that you could probably learn some stuff. But like, that's not the intent. The intent is to entertain. And if in the process of being entertained you walk away with some concepts that you can apply, you can apply during your own gameplay, or you can go to the range and try some stuff out, like, that's awesome. And I'm glad that that's something that people can walk away with. But full on committing to instructing in that kind of niche is a whole different ball game, and we're not quite there yet. But virtual reality is pretty cool.
That was actually the follow-up I was going to ask you about. Obviously,
I knew that. I was
yeah,
leaning into it.
We've talked about this. We've talked about this in private, in public, and everything like that. Yeah. You've said on many occasions, more and more lately, about how you feel like VR is a real ultimate training tool and how it's not really being used yet in the way that it can. Why don't you elaborate on that a little bit for us?
Oh man, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir with you two. But you guys know the deal. Yeah, it's for everyone. First of all, if you haven't played a VR game, you need to. And if you haven't put on a VR headset, you need to. I put on a VR headset for the first time in December of 2020. So it's only been 7 months that I've touched kind of this niche, this portion of the industry. The moment I put an Oculus headset on, I'm standing in my room by myself, And I just said out loud, holy shit, like this is a game changer. This is completely different. And it's a level of immersion that I didn't know was possible in a digital environment, and it blew me away. As I started touching different games, I realized like, hey, this is not only entertainment, but this has tremendous training potential, not just, in military, but in all sorts of industries. The reason that I don't think VR is getting used to its full potential right now in any extent is there are some simulations available to law enforcement in the military. You guys are probably familiar with, VBS2. You're probably familiar with maybe like the squad immersion virtual trainer. There's a few other things out there like where the Department of Defense and different law enforcement agencies are kind of tinkering with, but they're all clunky as heck. They take forever to set up. They're not located where the soldiers are located, so it requires advanced planning and movement to and from that location to use the equipment. Typically, the people who are assisting and using the equipment aren't proficient in the equipment, or if they are proficient in the equipment, they're not proficient in the job or the tactics or the mission of the people that are using it. So the challenge is they're not delivering like a high quality experience, and the technology is there. And bizarrely or not, the gaming world, your Onwards and your Fast and Lows are a better, at least at this point, simulation and training experience than most military or commercial grade virtual reality systems. They just are. And I think that's going to change in the near future. But there's no doubt that there's just enormous potential there.
Well, I totally agree. And I think that, one of the things that somebody brought up in your chat is that the accessibility of VR hasn't been great yet. It's getting better. Hasn't been great yet, but while perusing your Instagram of all places, I noticed that there's a number of people who have started following you that are interested in creating technology like that. I'm trying to find the one that I just saw. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to find. Oh, Chimera XR was one that that I just clued into. They're training police with a custom, I think it's a Quest based virtual reality, and it looks, it looks really good. It looks like a great simulation. Obviously, it's not realistic in the sense of the video doesn't look like real, people, but the spatial awareness, the just the situations you can find yourself in, you're not getting like a nice flat screen like a lot of police simulators where you're just shooting at the screen, or all of us have gone through the EST 2000. It's not like that. It's it's a full spatial awareness thing where you have to worry about high, low, left, right. You gotta watch your six, everything like that. And so I think I missed an opportunity to say check your six right there. But with all that, it's I really feel like it's a technology that is maturing. It's getting better. I hope that it does mature graphics wise. I feel like maybe we're going a little bit backwards on that with by trying to beat the accessibility. We're also making it graphics wise not quite as good. But you were playing a game the other day. You made a video on it about, like, you said this is your favorite VR game, and it's like doesn't look realistic at all. What was the name of this game?
Yeah, Fast and Low. And
Fast and Low, yeah.
On the Chimera XR thing. So that system looks really promising. I'm not going to render an opinion on it yet because I haven't got hands on it. I'm really, really hoping to in the near future, and I've talked to the founder and CEO of the company, and hopefully we can work something out. But it looks really promising. Like you said, it's a Quest 2 based platform. Some of the features that they brag about is being able to like rapidly throw a training environment together. So if you can imagine, you can throw in a Quest 2, in the parking lot behind, the police department, or out on the turf field behind, the company operations facility. If you're a military guy, you could throw a Quest 2 on. You take your M4 lower receiver, and you detach it from the upper, and you can actually drop your upper receiver and your barrel straight into a 3D printed lower receiver, which becomes your Quest controller, your Oculus Touch controller. So they're doing a lot in ergonomics and stuff that I haven't seen before. I'm excited to see where that technology goes. But yeah, not to totally get on a tangent before we dive into Fast and Low, but Fast and Low is another example of a fantastic project. Man, it looks like absolute dog vomit, but it is such a great game. And I know the guys that are in the audience right now that have played it, and those I have played with, likely all agree. It is it's powerful because it's doing a lot of like the virtual reality movement stuff, right? It's got locomotion similar to Onward if you dial it in. The weapon manipulation feels a lot like Onward, but it adds some of the co-op mechanics that are lacking in experiences like Onward. So the bots that you're facing, they're not just drones that are just coming pouring through fatal funnels and getting mowed down by machine gun fire. Instead, there's going to be shoot, no shoot situations. You have to, call out the enemy to tell them to put their hands up or get down. You have to cuff them once they surrender. If the time to kill is really high, so if you do get engaged, you'll go down quickly if you're unprepared, and marksmanship matters for that reason. There's even melee, like they can come at you with knives and stuff like that, which is kind of an interesting kind of shoot, no shoot scenario. So if you can get over the ridiculous visuals, it's really impressive. And it's being developed by like one dude and his buddies, mostly just a one guy developing it, and he's doing a fantastic job. I hope that the rest of the community or the rest of the industry sees what he's doing and integrates some of these features into more robust games. And ideally, someone hire this guy. Like, first of all, if you hear my voice right now, go buy it. He deserves the support, and he's doing something that no one else is doing. The game is called Fast and Low. You can get it on Steam.
Somebody link it in chat right now. Link it in chat. I need it for my chat too.
Exactly. Hopefully we can get it on Nexus or something here in the near future.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That Nexus. Love that Nexus life.
Yeah, man. But but yeah, you got to support the dude, and then hopefully he gets hired, and hopefully people start integrating technology and features like this, because he's doing it right. He's definitely an example worth following.
So Grim, with your background, did you guys ever do any VR training while you're still in?
It's funny you should ask that, because I was going to add. So I had VR when I was in, obviously, and I had played Onward, and I showed all my buddies Onward, and every single person that I showed, my team leader, squad leader, platoon leader, every single person, they'd put it on, they'd try and play it. To answer your question, no, we never did any VR training, but whenever they'd come into my barracks room and they'd try Onward for the first time, every single person that would try it on and would play around, they'd be like, dude, we could use this for training. And I'm like,
Yep.
I know.
Yeah.
So
that's the company that we're gonna start, right, Paris? That's the one.
Yeah,
we're gonna get rich.
That's the plan, dude.
It's gonna get rich.
Like Grim can attest to this. It is such a colossal pain in the ass, and forgive my language, to get to like a live fire scenario in an urban environment. Just to take a fire team or a squad and put them in a building and let them shoot paper takes weeks of prep, and they've got to go out on a flat range, and they've got to qualify in their weapon system, and they've got to do it during the daylight, and they've got to do it at nighttime, and then they transition over to the shoot house, and then they've got to go walk through the shoot house and make sure they understand it, and then they've got to shoot it with blanks or with simunition or UTM rounds, and then they got to go through and they finally get to do it with live bullets, and they probably only do it one time, and then they repeat the whole process at nighttime. Meanwhile, you can knock out those same rehearsals in environment like Onward or Fast and Low or Chimera XR whenever these systems become robust enough, and you can get 100 reps, 200 reps in half an hour or an hour instead of 1 or 2 reps over the course of a day. So just the potential to get better really, really fast before you go to live conditions, like that value proposition alone should be enough to make law enforcement and military folks get excited.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, like you said, if we were able to get Onward or something like that, because I believe they have the ability to make maps now in the hands of guys who like know the shoot houses and other bases and stuff like that guys use. You can get new guys to look at the inside of a shoot house and like do dry runs in the COF or the company operations facility, and do a bunch of dry runs there and know what it looks like. So that way, when they get there, when they do the dry run, it's like, well, they've seen it already. Like the possibilities are endless for something like this to work. And it gets me really excited.
It makes me excited. It makes me super frustrated because like as nerdy gamers of the internet, we know that this technology is already there. And it's just so frustrating to like watch it sit on the table and not be used.
It'll be years until it actually gets implemented.
I mean, I feel like it, VR's, I'm hoping it's not the case, but I feel like VR is going to kind of go the way that like flight sims were. If you look at like what the quality of flight sims were out on the PC market, and then you looked at what sims that Boeing and Lockheed Martin were making for pilots, they were garbage, right? Like they didn't look good, they didn't have the graphical quality, but it's because they were writing to these really weird specs and they're trying to make it on the most budget computer and everything like that. I feel like one thing that's nice about this is that this technology, as now that the price is getting more reasonable, has already the technology itself has matured pretty well. The software has matured pretty well, and I think that will be a benefit. Is all it's going to take is like Flo Beatbox in chat asked the question: do you think the U.S. Army would be willing to contract out training or exercise military VR game? I'm going to say, for my sake, I think that those companies already are out there making games, and it's literally just going to take the pilot program of the Army saying like, hey, let's grab I don't know, Downpour or whoever, and let's make a squad-based shooter that we have complete control of the back end on. And I really feel like it's just going to take like one lieutenant colonel or colonel with the good idea fairy who's in the right spot in the right time, and that could happen any day now,
Yeah, no, absolutely. The technology is there. We need the right people in the right decision-making space to make the call. And I think, a lot of times the military seems to be kind of set the culture of law enforcement and kind of the gun community writ large. But this is one of those situations where the civilian side and the public side is outpacing government in a significant way. So it's interesting to kind of see that get flipped on its head.
And I think that, not to beat a dead horse here, because obviously we're all for it. I think one of the things that is really not spoken about enough is the ability to sand table, but like at life size inside a VR game. Like if you had like an actual level creator and you had to say raid a compound and you had the good ISR on it, like the ability to be physically in that space. Yeah, you might not know what the inside looks like. You might not know what this room or that room is, but just the ability to maneuver within a compound rather than hitting it for the first time or trying to create some, glass house situation. I feel like that alone, even if you're not shooting, just the ability to move through it alone has immense value, especially to some of our guys that are more on the snake eater side,
Yeah, no, 100%. It allows you to throw a rehearsal together much faster. You can actually do, you can get reps on that digital model. You can modify it in real time as the intelligence picture changes. The possibilities are endless, and it feels like we're behind the curve. And I'm optimistic that changes in the near term. But here's to hoping.
So
here's to hoping. I'm gonna take a drink to that.
Yeah. So right. VR, we're all for it. U.S. Army, Navy, you guys get it together. We're all for VR. So Pairs, aside from the games you talked about here, what are the games you play right now? What are you really excited about in the tactical space?
Man, that's tough. So we talked about Chimera XR. It's not a game, but I'm definitely really excited about that in the near term. I am not holding my breath, but I am hopeful that Ready or Not lives up to the ridiculously high expectations that have been set, despite much of the naysaying, rumor mill, and frankly evidence to the contrary. And I'm also really excited about Operation Harsh Doorstop. I think that Blue Drake and his team is making something really special. I see Gooms is down there in the audience right now, and
he's clapping. He is.
Yeah, right. And but what I've seen from all of the the alpha tests, and I've jumped in on one of them, and I've watched streams and content from the others. They're on the right track, and the fact that the ISMC team got roped into it, and I guess I'm using like acronyms and talking about these things, assuming that everyone who hears this is going to know what I'm talking about, and that's not a good assumption. So Operation Harsh Doorstop is going to be a free game that is no catch. Like there's no catch, there's no microtransactions, there's no purchase required at all. It is fully funded by fans and the volunteer hours and the on occasion paid hours of developers who are creating it as part of Drakeling Labs, which is run by Blue Drake 42, a well-known content creator in his own right. And they're building a platoon-wide tactical shooter that's going to take place across multiple eras. So they've, I think, announced World War I, Vietnam, World War II, modern. I might be missing some. Gooms, you'll have to
90s. 90s as well, yeah.
Okay, 90s.
That's the original one, yeah.
Yeah. So it's got like the scope is enormous, and they've already confirmed infantry and vehicle combat. Blue Drake has set some pretty high marks for more complex vehicles as well, and even air stuff. And on top of all that, they've now integrated the team from ISMC, which is renowned for their work on Insurgency Sandstorm. They did basically a graphic overhaul and added a ton of assets to Insurgency Sandstorm to give you really realistic kit. Realistic weapon systems, highly customizable weapon systems, and then some really nice kind of like mutators that you could run on the back end if you hosted your own server. So there's a ton of promise in there. And Gooms is saying in chat they've also got AI in there now. So yeah, you can run AI, which means co-op is probably possible. And yeah, so it's insane. And the fact that that's going to be free is going to do a ton for tactical shooters on the whole. So I guess like on a multiplayer PvP platoon-wide tactical shooter kind of game, yeah, Operation Harsh Doorstop is one I'm excited about. More small-scale CQB kind of game, definitely really excited about Ready or Not, presuming that it lives up to the hype. And then the other one that we haven't talked about is 6 Days in Fallujah, which for whatever reason has garnered a ton of controversy. That's not worth talking about, but it looks like a phenomenal video game.
I think it's just carrying controversies from back when it was made. I mean, you think about when they first were going to make that, what was it, 2004 or something like that, and things were a little bit raw then. It's been a minute, so it's not surprising.
The original Battle of Fallujah was in 2004. It would have been a little bit after that, but anyway, yeah, like it's got a lot of baggage tied to it because of the attempted first launch. But if you just watch, what they've shown so far, it looks really cool. They've definitely got a lot of work to go. It's definitely not perfect. But there's not a ton of games trying to achieve that like super immersive, tactical kind of CQB feel, and they seem to be going for it. And then I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention 0 Hour and Ground Branch. So we've talked about them, but these are both kind of small scale co-op. Well, I say co-op. They both have PvP available. I prefer playing co-op in both of them. But they're kind of micro tactical CQB shooters, really high emphasis on teamwork and fire maneuver in close quarters. Kind of 0 Hour going the way of the more accessible model, but still very tactical and plenty fun. And then Ground Branch going the way of kind of the more simulator, hardcore, punishing tactical shooter. Both look fantastic. Both have big updates on the way. Really excited to see the next Ground Branch update, new animation overhaul, and all that sort of stuff. So it's looking really good.
Been waiting on those animations for a while. Grim, you got another question? Because I got like 10 more to ask, and we're gonna run out of time.
I will shorten my answers.
Stop. No. Stop running. Say we're going to run out of time. We're not going to run out of time. We're going to get plenty out of this. We're going to squeeze every little drop out of this right now. No, I don't really. I'm trying to think of the question that I was just going to have, but you just.
I'll ask one. I'll ask one. Oh, you go.
It's coming back to me. Sorry, it's the whiskey's hitting me. Going back to 6 Days in Fallujah. What do you think about the procedural generation that they're going to be going for? Because I think that is the future of tactical games in terms of CQB.
Yeah. You're 100% agree with you. The reason procedurally generated terrain, you have two options if you're a developer. You have to make terrain that is so damn big that you can't memorize the complexities of it and never master the micro terrain. So like that's one of your options. And then the other option is the terrain has to change every time. Anything short of either of those options, and the result is committed players memorize the map to such an extent that they have an unfair advantage over anyone who is accessing it for the first time, despite the individual skill of either player. So if, obviously I'm a fan of these hardcore tactical games. I don't think that grinding levels and getting you access to specialized equipment should give you an unfair advantage over other players in these tactical games. I don't think that map knowledge and knowing how to spawn peek or hold the right corner at the right time should give you an advantage over other players in these tactical games. What I think should give you an advantage is playing effectively, communicating with your teammates, having outstanding aim, holding your corners, using the fundamentals of CQB that we all talk about, or at least I talk about in virtually every piece of content that I make, and maximizing those things to the greatest extent possible in a true hardcore tactical shooter should be the things that deliver success. And so the procedural generation in 6 Days in Fallujah is the future of games, like period. And I think one of the reasons that these things have such potential in a training environment, like, Chimera XR allows you to throw together terrain really quickly. Same kind of deal. And Yeah, so that's the hot take, and there's some other games out there that are attempting things like it, but what has been shown in 6 days is really, really impressive.
To go back to talking about Operation Harsh Doorstop, and Gooms will tell me I'm wrong in the chat, or maybe if I am wrong, I don't know. But one thing that Blue had mentioned a while ago is his desire to make the shoot house that they have not procedurally generated, but to change enough to where it is different every single time. So every time you run the shoot house, it has an actual path through it, which is sometimes one of the weird things about procedural generation. But it has a path, but it has objectives built into it. And so I think that's going to be, just at the very basic level, just doing a shoot house by itself procedural gives you an awesome ability to do reps in a game, to hone those tactical skills, especially if you can do it in multiplayer, to that when you then are hitting the actual building, you've got a lot of those tactics built into your head, just like in the real world, right? Reps matter.
Exactly. And success in the real world is TTP driven. It's teamwork driven, and the same should be true of tactical games. It's the reason that units don't just train at their home station over and over again on the same shoot houses over. Well, I take that back. A lot of units do, but the units who have the means travel, right? So once you've mastered those 2 or 3 or 4 shoot houses or live fire ranges at your installation, you go somewhere else and you hit different ones that look different in different places, because those reps are more valuable, because they are blind looks, right? Just like the blind looks in every single video in my Door Kicker series. There's a reason I don't play those things over and over again and master them. It's because the value is in the first rep. Every mistake counts more in the first rep, and the only way to win in the first rep is doing it right.
So you mentioned a couple things, and this is something that I like to talk to people about who are really into tactical games. Can you kind of break down to me what your balance point is between quote-unquote realism and fun?
80-20, I think. Yeah, I'd say 80-20. I think 80-20 is a fair assessment in like Door Kickers. I try to keep it it is grounded in realism without sacrificing fun and entertainment. I don't use the term MILSIM a whole lot. I don't know if you guys have caught that, but I don't enjoy MILSIM. Like being in the military is mostly very, very boring, as both of you guys know.
Preach.
And so like I don't get a ton of value out of having pretend ranks and / saluting each other in chat, and if people enjoy that sort of role playing, like good on you, man. Like have a blast, like run with it. It's not my thing. What I enjoy is hanging out with my buddies, playing sweet video games, doing it in a quasi realistic way, and that means like clicking heads and blowing open doors and taking corners and throwing bangs and throwing frags and shooting guns and so we try to do that in a really fast-paced and dynamic and realistic way, without sacrificing too much realism or getting too sweaty, try hard MILSIM. So it's a balance, but I think 80-20, 80 tactics and 20 entertainment would be my swag.
And so what do you think that like 80-20 to me sounds like Ground Branch to me is an 80-20 game?
Yeah, I think that's probably 80-20. If a game can, and you can play Ground Branch however you want. There's a lot of ways to not play Ground Branch 80-20, but I think like your Ground Branch and is probably an 80-20 game. I think that's a good assessment.
So you and I did an Arma thing a while back. What's now that it's matured a little bit? I know you did Arma back in the day. How are you feeling about Arma right now?
I love Arma, man. It is among the most impressive platforms that you can access on a computer. I mean, it's phenomenal for what it can do. And the video that you and I shot with, God, that was a hell of a cruise. Like me, you, and Karmacut and Nick, and then a couple of the mods from the Discord. I mean, that was a blast. I'm really happy with the way everyone's videos came out. That was sweet. But Arma is just so labor intensive. And running an Arma community or server or hosting Arma events is a full-time job. It is not user friendly. It is clunky. It's so like customizable and moddable, but like, damn, if your mods aren't compatible and you break the server or break the mission. But it is really, really, really special when you get it clicking. And I think we did on that mission. And I think what we did on that op was Arma at its finest, or at least as fine an experience in Arma as I have ever seen or experienced.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great one, and I've gone back and looked several times as I've tried to develop various ops and say what was it that made that a good op, and I think that part of it was, not to toot my own horn about things we made videos about, but the fact that we had a core group of guys and girls that were really, really tight, right? It's not necessarily that we had played together a bunch, but we all had very good communication skills. We all took it seriously. But I think also it wasn't this macro scope like, yeah, we're going and taking down the whole Russian army. It was, we literally just hit one compound with like a total of 10 defenders, and then we went through a city to find an X to take out a target, and we probably only fought a total of maybe 20 guys in that city, and then we pulled out, right? And it was like, I think what made it so interesting was the tension that existed in all that movement in between all of the time that we're in those streets. When a guy pops out and shoots at you, like it really mattered versus, oh, hey, here's another platoon of guys about to crest the hill. So I think that's part of what really, really sold that. And it's crazy that a game like Arma, which can have planes and helicopters and tanks and, amazing amounts of infantry like on Karma server, can also still be an engaging game for 5 to 10 people to just have really focused ops.
Yeah. No, wholeheartedly agree, and that's the beauty of Arma, is it is so
and G-Man
scalable.
Zeus, and G-Man Zeus. That's not.
And G-Man as Zeus, yeah.
Yeah.
And Gumbert as the camera guy after he got smoked at their first objective.
Oh, it was a good time. So you mentioned Karma earlier, and you had told me a while back that you and Karma have actually known each other for a bit. Is that a story that you can tell?
Yeah. So Carmen and I have never met in person. We plan to try to attend some events together in the future, should the stars align. But I guess he and I started interacting. It's been, I guess, like probably a couple years. It was when the channel rebooted, so probably 2018 or 2019. I started just playing tactical shooters again and making content more seriously and kind of focusing on content. Ended up bumping into him a couple times on the squad op servers, did some One Life stuff, played some squad and played some post-scriptum with him just kind of casually. And when I noticed he was playing, I'd make sure to get in a squad because I knew he would also, always lead a good squad. And then just over time, he noticed the content. We developed a kind of a, we talked more frequently and just developed a friendship. I consider him a mentor. He's certainly a mentor in the content creator niche, I'm sure. That he would laugh if I told him I consider him a mentor, but he's talented at what he does. He's absolutely a buddy and a friend.
Yeah, and he knows what he's talking about, unlike you. Remember that one tweet or that one comment? I don't know, but this guy ControlledPairs doesn't seem like he knows what he's talking about. Not like Drewski and Karma.
Oh yeah, I do recall that.
Who said that?
Whose man's is this?
Dude, internet comments are the best, man. Like, guys, for all the trolls out there, guys, never stop. Please, you make my day. It's fantastic.
I was gonna say, how do you? I guess to segue into my question, how do you handle that? Do you just like cold shoulder
laugh, it, man? Like early on, I cared too much, and like I think early on I was self-conscious, and I think all humans are self-conscious. That I'm no different than anybody else. But early on, I was self-conscious about the content, my gameplay, and I've never like flexed my credentials, and I don't feel the need to. But but early on, I was no doubt taken aback when I got harsh criticism. And then over time, like the criticism was irrelevant because the channel kept growing. The good feedback outweighed the bad exponentially. The statistics spoke for themselves. And at the end of the day, guys, like I'm putting myself out there in a hobby that's extremely public and extremely awkward and extremely challenging and difficult. I'm being reasonably successful in the process. And someone on the internet is investing like 2 to 3 seconds to write a sentence that they think is going to get a rise out of me instead of doing something with their life. So it's better to chuckle and just move on.
So for anyone in chat or anyone watching the video later or listening on the podcast, what Pairs is saying is that, yes, trolls, we do laugh at your comments.
It's true. It is true.
A well-executed troll is very enjoyable.
Yeah, man. It is entertaining, but I still get plenty to this day. It just doesn't bother me. And if they're good ones, I end up sharing them with my friends, so it's all good.
So as a content creator, how much do you balance just playing, just choosing whatever game that you have and that you're enjoying in the moment versus shall we say, a little more tactical approach on what you post up?
So my time is super finite between my professional obligations and my family and content creation. And because of that, typically when I have time to game, I still want to play tactical games. I don't ever really get burnt out because I don't invest much time in games. I mean, my Steam profile is, I think it's public. I might regret saying that, but you can see how many hours I'm dropping into these games. It's not a ton. Like most of my fans play a hell of a lot more video games than I do. So I'm still very excited to play Fast and Low and Door Kickers and 0 Hour and Ground Branch and Hell Let Loose and all these different games. I don't get burned out, but the struggle between gamer and content creator is definitely a real one, and I totally understand burnout. I'm just lucky, at least I say lucky. I don't have enough time. I'm too burned out living my actual life to get burned out playing video games.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's pull the thread on that a little bit, because I've felt the same way again about what you said about viewers and people who are your friends play way more games than you. How important do you think it is to be like really good at a game that you play?
It just depends on your value proposition, right? Like, first of all, content creators, you need a value proposition. No one wants to watch your content just because you play video games. We all play video games. So what makes you different, right? That's a question you got to ask yourself. What makes me different is not that I can, click heads as fast as Karma Cut. Like that, I can't, and I never will. But my content's different because I take the tactical approach. I focus on that intersection between real world application and this digital entertainment kind of medium. And so that's kind of been, I don't know, that's been what has worked out so far anyway.
Well, yeah, it seems to have worked out pretty well. I didn't check. I forgot to check your 62,000 subscribers right now.
Oh crap! You broke 60?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, he's doing great, and I feel like it's only accelerating. So, what's next for Control Pairs? What do you have coming in the future? Are we gonna have a Pairs Con next year? What do we?
Oh man,
where do you want to go from here?
I have so many more ideas than I do time to execute them. Over the next 18 months or so, I plan to get out to more events. I like to start attending some conventions. I want to get out to like a MILSIM West or a Copperhead kind of event and do. I've never played airsoft in my life, but I'm reasonably interested in it, particularly in those environments where they've got a rule set that supports the kind of experience that I am after. I'd love to make some content from those events in the same kind of style as my gaming content. I've started to do more real world stuff on Instagram. I'm doing more firearm stuff and interacting with that industry more. I suspect that that'll continue to grow. The Control Pairs gaming, YouTube channel will absolutely continue, but I've also got plans to expand into kind of the more broad simulation and real world application sort of niche as I continue to grow the Controlled Pairs gaming brand. And to go with it all, I know you guys saw I stood the website up finally this last week, which has been something I've kind of delayed for a long time. So I'm making some advancements, and I've definitely got plans and not enough time to execute them. So we shall see. But those are the things that I'm dreaming about, right?
So when are you going full time?
Give me a decade or so, my dude.
Is that something that you're interested in pursuing, or are you just happy with where you're at now?
Full-time content creation? No. I mean, I've definitely always been entrepreneurially inclined, right? I love this hobby, and I love that it's a hobby that is now generating income and adds value to my family in that way. And I think any endeavor that you find joy in that can achieve that for you is worthwhile. And that's why, one of the many reasons I continue to pursue this one. And we'll see. I don't think I'm going to go full time. I love my job right now. I plan to continue doing it for some time. When that's all said and done, I absolutely am going to be, starting a business and doing the kind of entrepreneur sort of stuff. I'm sure that this brand, this effort, this progress that I've made in this industry and the industries I hope to move into in the near future will play a huge part in that.
Dream team, MILSIM West, next time.
Dude, let's do it for real. Me, you, Karma, Fodder, let's go.
I literally
good,
got
man.
a message from Karma right before this asking if I was going to Copperhead, and I'm like, oh, what? And he sent me a link, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
He hit me up earlier. I got the tentative yes from the fam, but I got a conflict that weekend, unfortunately. But I'm gonna make one of these. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be sick.
Okay,
we're gonna build a squad.
Yeah, we're gonna. That's you guys out in chat land. You guys are gonna see someday. We'll all get together. But at that point, Pairs, you're gonna have to do like the administrative results thing and wear a balaclava or something. Or are you finally gonna do a face reveal? What's gonna happen there?
Dude, I feel like I haven't done a face reveal for this long, so it's gonna be awkward. I've got options, right? I can make a big deal of it, and I could like release content around the face reveal. I could just casually, just one day, just be like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And just let it click without saying a damn thing. Or I could do the administrative results thing. So I don't know. I haven't settled on which of those options we're going with. But that's a decision I'll have to make here in the next 12 months or so.
I want to see your beautiful face.
I want you to see it. I do.
Send me face pics. Come on. No. Well, Grim, do you have any more questions? We're kind of pressing up against the time, and I've got one more thing. Let Grim do his questions, then I got one more thing after that.
Okay.
Yeah, let me do my questions, which is like I really don't have any. I just love being in with Pairs and you guys. So go ahead.
Okay, so I want to make this fun, so let's play a little game here, Pairs. I am going to ask you, it's like this or that. I'm going to ask you two things, and I want you to give me an opinion. It doesn't have to be your first thought, but let's try to make it relatively off the cusp. Okay.
It's a hot take. Okay.
It's a hot take.
An opinion on whatever you tell me. Gotcha.
Yep. Okay. So, AK or M4?
M4.
Okay. Abrams or Leopard?
Abrams.
Okay.
Come on.
Hey, I'm just asking. Some people are all about that Leopard life.
God, I wish you would have screened these with me.
No, you can ask one if you. What do you got?
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
Speed or momentum?
Speed.
Okay. Speed or violence?
Violence.
Okay. Tactics or firepower?
Tactics.
I think I knew that one. Air or armor?
Air.
Here's a hard one. Ground branch or 0 hour?
Ooh. Ground branch. That's a hot take though. That's rough.
That's a really tough one.
I fucking love both of those games, but yeah, I gotta get ground branch in the.
Now we're asking the tough questions.
Yeah, that's everyone came here for me to make you sweat, even though they can't see it. So, okay. NCO or warrant?
NCO.
Okay. Implied movement or spoken in terms of buddy movement?
Implied.
I thought I knew the answer to that one. I added one here right as we were talking. Kerbal Space Program or Rocket League?
Kerbal Space Program.
That's a pretty easy one right there.
It's like top 3 games all time for real.
It's so good, and what I love about being into like the tactical gaming space is that you find people who love they love games that ride that line between simulation and non-simulation, even if they're not shooty games. And I think if you look across the board, you're gonna find a ton of people that just love Kerbal Space Program. It's just a good game, and it makes it fun to run a kind of semi-realistic space program. You know,
it's awesome. There's a special place in my heart for that game, and KSP2 will come out eventually, and we'll have to start a new YouTube channel. So we'll see you there.
Here, I'm gonna take one from the audience. Squad or Arma?
Oh, Arma.
I think so too. Let's hear. Minnow said Glock or not. I don't think that's fair. Glock or Sig?
I'm a Glock guy. I am.
Yeah, me too.
My man.
Sig makes a great gun, but ergonomics work in the Glock.
You're the Glock or you're not.
Either
probably
Glock.
Is Gunbird losing his shit right now? Probably.
Well, that's pretty much the majority of. I said I'd give you an hour. We're just slightly over that. What is there anything else you'd like to say closing out?
Oh man, no, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for having me on. This is a blast, and really appreciate y'all's time and for coming to hang out and spend some time in my Discord, with these awesome people.
Well, definitely thanks for hosting us. I really appreciate you finding the time to come on the podcast. It's really cool talking to you because I think that you've got you think very deeply about these games and the industry and the communities and all the stuff that we care about here on the podcast. And you're just a generally interesting guy to listen to, so that helps a lot. and I know you're busy. So thanks for doing that. I feel like I even learned a little bit, and you and I see eye to eye on a lot of these things, and we talk all the time. So I appreciate you gracing us with your presence. Grim, you want to close out?
Always a pleasure, Pairs.
Likewise, brother. I appreciate you guys so much.
Well, thanks very much. And you need to get a patch going so I can wear it right here.
Hey, they're in production, my guy.
Yeah, I need a patch ASAP.
I do too.
Yep, send one to all of us. Just get all of our addresses, and then
there we go.
And then we'll always be terrified.
Just tweet them to me after this.
Yes, I'll tweet my address out. Well, thanks for everyone out in chat who came to watch the podcast. If you're listening out there on the podcast on audio forum, make sure that you follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, go follow Grim, maybe subscribe to him, subscribe to Control Pairs. It's in the bottom of the YouTube video, and just overall play a lot of tactical games. Make sure you guys are staying tactical out there. Thanks, guys, and let's close it up.
Boom. Awesome. Well, I appreciate
I closed my
stream
down. All right, so now after dark, right? What are we doing?
After dark. Now the adult beverages come out.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I've had that out the entire time.
No, that was a blast, guys. I appreciate y'all's time. I really did.